Hey everybody, KC here. So, a lot of retailers think about how do you compete with Amazon? But it's not just retailers that have to think about how to compete with Amazon. Because Amazon is in so many businesses, um, quite frankly, it almost doesn't matter what business you're in. At some level, you're competing with them. Um, and we got a taste of exactly how this works out yesterday when it was announced by Netflix that it has signed a deal with Steven Spielberg to produce via his Amblin Entertainment business several movies a year for Netflix. Now, this is really interesting on a lot of levels. First of all, Spielberg has always had a little bit of antipathy for the whole streaming movie business. He has no problem with TV. In fact, he's made TV for Apple Plus, Apple TV. But that was a reboot of his old Amazing Stories series. But his feeling was, movies that are on streaming services are not theatrical movies and should not be considered as such. But apparently he has adjusted that opinion a little bit. I suspect Netflix sort of opened up the vault for Spielberg. He is Steven Spielberg after all. And I have no idea if it is part of the $17 billion that Netflix has basically slated for original productions this year, or maybe they're upping the budget a little bit for Spielberg. But listen, Netflix was already outspending Amazon when it comes to original content. Amazon spends about $7 billion a year. But still, the pressure is on. Amazon is making headway in terms of its streaming business. Not to mention there are all these other streamers out there: the Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, HBO Max, all the other networks and services. The fight in the content business is a pitched battle, and clearly Netflix felt that they had to do something in order to maintain their lead. They're still way ahead of everybody else in terms of viewership. But the one thing they can't do is be complacent. Listen, I think that this is a great example. It's not actually a Spielberg movie, but this is a great example of the what Sean Connery says in The Untouchables, right? You don't want to bring a knife to a gunfight. Actually, he doesn't say you don't want to bring a knife to a gunfight. What he says to the guy who's holding a knife on him is, well, he uses a derogatory term and says, you brought a knife to a gunfight. But let's be clear, as that scene plays out, Connery gets shot. So anyway, but that's, clearly what Netflix is doing is it's bringing the biggest guns it can to a gunfight that it knows is not going to end anytime soon. That, in a lot of ways, is what retailers have to do. You don't want to bring a knife to a gunfight. You got to find the biggest guns you have and bring them to the battle, and do so in a way that is differentiated, and do the things that Amazon's not going to do the things that Amazon can't do. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this morning. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.